Thank you so much, Barb, for the introduction. And also, I'm very happy to be here and present today what we are doing with 111 in Switzerland, the community building approach. The nice title, business model for reconnecting communities, by the way, was invented by Bart. Also, thank you very much for that. It's very catchy and summarizes very well what we're doing.
Super.
Cool. So let's start. I'll tell you something. Let me see if I can move here. Yes, about myself first. So my name is Alexandra Signer. You can call me Lex. I'm 33 years old. I'm Swiss born, Swiss raised, been here a few years of my life. I've spent also quite a few years of my life in China, which is very different to Switzerland, but also very nice. I studied economics. I worked quite a few years in an international company called ABB in the industrial fields. And as you know, or as it's common, what you do, you make a management development program, you study business while you work, and you get a new position, you get promoted, and this kind of career thing that I like to compare with a hamster wheel. When when the hamster is inside of the hamster wheel, it looks very much like a career ladder, but it's actually a wheel. And then after a while, I realized, okay, what am I doing? Every year when I achieve my goals, what happens to me is I get more difficult goals to achieve. It's all revenue based. And after a while, I was like, okay, all I always care about are the people I work with and the people around me, and how to bring them further, and by that also how to bring myself further and how to learn from each other. So people was always in the center for me, privately as well as during my work time. So I try to find a spot for myself where I can do more with all these business models and everything you learn while you study and while you work, but like create something else with it. So I made more education of myself in the area of intercultural sensitivity, which is very helpful when you live abroad, especially in a country which shares a different culture, such as China. And also during my time in China, I quit my job in ABB and built up a restaurant, which was also an arts and cultural platform. So what I really learned to is use what's there, like not imagine or not wait for anybody to bring you things or for things to change in a way you want. If you want something, then just use what's there and do it. So that's also very strongly my attitude. Entrepreneurship is kind of in my blood. My parents had their own company, and so did my grandparents. Grandparents, both sides, worked in gastronomy. So that's a little bit in my blood. When I don't work, I love to read. I love arts, travel. You can see it here. Food, wine, and so on. But for me, it's very important that I'm a kind of person, I don't believe much in this work-life balance. I rather work in a field that makes me so happy that I'm balanced even when I work, so I don't need to count the hours. My work life is very colorful. So the number one I'll show you today is 111, the main part where I'm active. And then two other fields are, we opened a tutoring school this year for kids that need a little bit more support to come through the school system. And then the third one is the brand you see on the right side. Lulu is my tea brand, because I love tea very much. And I got the chance to have friends in China who have tea hills, so I can easily get very nice tea. So, but today is not about myself. Today is about 111 and what we're doing there. So let's see. So questions in my head for a very long time already is, how can we maximize social impact in a sustainable long-term way? And therewith, the same question that comes together with it is, how can we use sustainable economical models to create this maximized social impact? So I want to create social impact that brings benefits to the people. But what I don't like is, I don't like to be dependent. I don't like to be dependent on a government that has a budget to support a project today, but does not have the budget to support it tomorrow. I don't like to be dependent on people who have goodwill and who like the idea at the moment, and you don't know what's happening tomorrow. So I prefer to set up a model that works within itself. So in that way that I can guarantee, or I can at least make sure that it's a sustainable in itself working model. So I'm not dependent on anyone's goodwill. And with 111, this is what we try to do, or what we're doing. Why? So why is there 111, or why do we need something like 111? Switzerland has some society challenges. I know that Switzerland is one of the richest and most wealthy country in the world, and we don't have the problems like poverty or no food. So I think I'm very privileged to be born here, and I'm very lucky. And still there are a few challenges that I think many countries are facing at the moment, and the longer the more. One is unused resources. There are so many resources that are not properly used, or are misused, or are not used at all, and just lying there, being just blank. The other one is growing loneliness. It's a huge thing in Switzerland, especially above elderly people. After retirement age, people get very lonely. It's a big issue. We have the digitalization, which is a big chance for many people. Like me, I like it, of course, and I guess all of you who could join the Zoom meeting, I guess you're also part of the society who can use the digital tools. But we cannot forget that there are many people who do not have access to everything that's only digital. So because they don't bring the resources, they maybe don't have the capacity, maybe are not trained that way. And that's by far not only the elderly people. We have so many people in Switzerland who are excluded from all the tools. So that's a fact. Decreasing pensions and demographic development, that's something huge everywhere in the world, I guess, but especially in Switzerland. I just got the news a few weeks back from the canton. You know, Switzerland is divided into 26 cantons, and the canton I live in, the amount of people above 80 years old will double within the next 8 years. I mean, if you think about that, what it means, it's also, of course, very beautiful, because it means we are healthy and we live longer. But with it, as many chances as there are, of course, there are also challenges. And the thing is, we have to think about how we react on that. And the beautiful thing that I think gets forgotten very often is right now, this moment, it's the first time that we have 2 generations being retired. And that's a huge chance, right? I mean, that's a lot of resources, so much time, and people that we can talk to and learn so much from, and also use for everyday things. But we've come to that. And of course, many more. I just summarize a few. Then also very important, the needs are changing. Needs of today, yesterday, are not the needs of tomorrow. So, you know, when it comes to people getting older, it also means we are more fit. We have completely different desires. We want to stay home for as long as possible, for instance. We don't want to move to an elderly people's house. I don't know whose of you have parents or grandparents in that stage. I do have that. They don't want to move to an elderly people's house. They want to stay home for as long as possible, which is very understandable. Affordable housing, very much needed. I don't need to explain you. I think this you know very well. We need some solutions for the people who are not in the digital world. Everyone wants to be belonging to something. This, of course, is the need out of the growing loneliness. We want to be part, and we want to be an active part. Contributing is a general need of us. So that's important, and self-determination. And no matter what age, we want to decide about our lives ourselves. So we summarized all of these things. We wanted to bring up a solution that is not having an isolated view of one of the problems or an isolated view of one of the target groups. So we are not a product for only elderly, or for only disabled, or for only the normal, or for only the single moms, or for only the working people. No, we want to have a solution for everything. This is the end-time model of everything you learn in any business school, where they tell you you have to be focusing on a very specific niche market. We don't do that. Our USP is we don't care that much about that. We want to give benefit to the people by combining these aspects. So we summarize these things in areas of living, in areas of working, sharing and caring. And if we put all of these together, we are here with 111 that we want to bring a solution. So 111 summarized is we want to connect people. And this is also where the name comes from. There used to be a phone number in Switzerland, 111, that you could call a while ago. It's quite a few years back, and you could be connected to somebody else. So I could, for instance, say, I want to talk to Miss Meyer in Basel, and then they will connect you to Miss Meyer in Basel. So that was the time before Google and before we could just look up everybody's number or had WhatsApp. So, and then that number was used by a lot of people, of course, for that, but many other people also called this number just to talk because they were lonely. My grandma was one of them. She often told me, yeah, no, I just asked 111, or I just called them and then I told them about my new baking recipe or something like that. And of course, it was totally overwhelming. The staff there was not trained to be asked, how do I buy a ticket for the opera? Or my husband is sick, what should I do? Or I'm going to the hospital, who is taking care of my dog? But this is exactly the questions that they started to being asked. So the response to it was they shut down the number, they closed the number. And what we want to do is we want to do a revival of this 111. We want to create places digitally as well as locally on site, personally, where people can ask any kind of question, where people can come in at any time and you have a person taking care of whatever you need. We want to connect people. So how do we do that? Now, this is the important part. We go to a let's take in mind a municipality or also to a part of the city. It doesn't matter. It could be a village, could be anything. So what you see here is normal housing. People live here. And what we do at the first step, we search a community center, a potential community center. What could be a potential community center? Important, we want to use what's there. So we are checking out what in this neighborhood is existing already. Are there compounds? Are there interesting public spaces that are not used fully? Are there hotels that don't have the full profit, or they're not totally booked out all the time? Or are there any other institutions? For today's example, I take the hotel because it's the easiest to understand, but the business model works exactly the same for anything else. So hotels, it's a fact in Switzerland, if you have a hotel with less than 50 rooms, the chance that you are profitable is extremely low, unless you are a, I don't know, boutique hotel in the mountains. But all these hotels you see in the villages in Switzerland, the hotels that my grandparents used to own, all of these with like 20, 30 rooms, it's impossible to be profitable. So many of the rooms are empty during the whole year, but the infrastructure of a hotel brings a lot of very interesting parts. So basically you have room. Most of the rooms are barrier free. So that means even for people with disabilities, you could go in quite easily. Most of the hotels have a kitchen. Most of the hotels have a dining room and so on. Most of the hotels have people who clean, people who speak many different languages. You have a reception and so on. So what we do is we make a partnership, a franchise partnership with the hotel, and we change the business model. The first thing we do is we look at housing. So which of the rooms in this hotel are not fully used could be offered to the people living outside of the hotel, living in this small village. Because there are people, of course, our main target is that people can stay home as long as possible. But if you cannot stay home because you have stairs, for instance, or the house is just too big or whatever, and you need to move out, you prefer to stay in your village close by rather than go to an elderly people's house. And I'm not even mentioning the cost. I mean, cost is crazy, but for going to an elderly people's house. So it's a lot cheaper. It's 1/3 of the cost if you move into a hotel where you are not getting the label of living in an elderly people house. It's mixed generations. It's in the center of your village and you can be connected. Same time, you can still also work in the hotel if you like. You could contribute, you could make the jam or whatever you like to do. The other thing is also taking and giving. So one part is the hotel opens up the rooms that they are usually not having hotel guests and rent them out for people to stay long term. At the same time, everyone living here who has rooms that they don't need, they could also rent it out, either themselves over our application, or they could tell the community center, please do it for me. So the community center can take over all the work it needs to find the perfect tenant. Maybe if you're, I don't know, if you're 75 years old, maybe the husband is not there anymore, you have a garden you cannot really take care anymore. Maybe we are looking for someone that moves in who is happy to have an affordable room, but will take care of your garden, maybe even will bring the groceries home for you. So we make the matching of who should live together with whom. And I'm always taking the elderly people as an example. Of course, that's just one of many, many groups. It could be us just living together, or whoever, it really doesn't matter. So housing is the first. Second is services. So a hotel offers quite a lot of services within the four walls. What we do is we break down the four walls and we offer the services that the hotel has anyway to the whole society around. So that means cleaning. After the people cleaned the hotel rooms, they could go out and clean the apartments of everyone around. We could offer food delivery service, like these meal services. We could offer light care. We could offer to bring people to hospital, like transportation services, and so on. There are a lot of different kinds of things. Very important as well. Most of the hotels have a 24/7 reception. So of course, also this 24/7 service will be available for everyone living around. This creates two benefits. The hotel has a total different income structure. So the hotel is not reliable anymore on tourism, on the season, on the stars, on COVID or non-COVID, because it has a total different positioning in the village. Normally, hotel does not have so much to do with the people in the village, because people in the village, they live there, they don't need a hotel. But like that, you become the center, you become the place of contact for many, many things. And the other benefit is that every single house you see here, every single apartment immediately becomes a service department. Without having to pay any monthly fee, you are a service department if you want to. So that means you don't need anything. You don't need anything. But the moment you will need it later, maybe, you can just have it. You don't need to move away. With this service offering, it creates work opportunities. So I make you an example. We have a small hotel, and I'll show you the picture afterwards as the example. They have a small restaurant underneath with 30 seats. So the maximum capacity, what they can sell is 30 meals. So what we do now is we offer this meal service to everyone living around. And within 9 months, we achieved that we can send out 320 meals every lunchtime. So this 320 meals every lunchtime, it needs, for instance, 70 kilos of carrots. I'm not a chef, I have no idea if that's accurate, but what you need to know is 320 meals need a lot of carrots. They need to be peeled. So peeling 70 kilos of carrots is the perfect opportunity for people. We call it in the second work market. So people with disabilities, people who are in integration programs, to be part of a real thing. So they don't work in workplaces which are closed away from the normal society, but they work in a total normal field. They provide a lot of very important services so that we can create these services for the people around. So it's always there, giving and taking. It creates jobs for people living there who would need to have a step in a rather not too complicated job. Then the next step, what we do, and now this is where the magic starts, we build up the neighborhood network. So what we talked before is how the hotel connects everything and how the hotel provides services. But what is even a lot more important is that the people get connected with each other. So what we want to achieve is that in the neighborhood, people know who can do what and who does need what. It's like back in the days, when I hear my grandmother tell me about how it was earlier time, this is exactly where we want to go to. For instance, I don't know how to install a lamp, but I'm very good at making dumplings. So on the platform, on the 111 app, I offer to make dumplings, or I can offer to make your taxes, or I can, I don't know, read to you, or whatever I can do. So people can think about what are my talents and what am I okay to offer to my neighbors. And if everybody starts to do that, we can see what kind of resources are there, and we can go further. It doesn't even have to be only talent, it can also be products, right? A screwing machine, do we really all of us have to buy one, or could we also share it? And it's the same thing with all of that. The moment you offer something, let's say I offer to make dumplings, I can choose the price as well as the currency myself. So currency number one, money. It's something you all know, right? I could offer 1 hour of German language course, €5 or €10 or €20, whatever I want. But now this is good, it's okay, people can do that. The second currency that we want to implement is time. So we make time a currency. You can pay in hours and you can also gain hours. Why do we do that? There are people, they cannot participate with money because they are not allowed to earn money. One group is not allowed to earn money. Who is that? Those are the refugees who don't have the status in Switzerland to be allowed to earn money and have a lot of time and resources and strength that they could use. We have people who are retired already. If they start to again earn money, they will have a problem with the pension. Then we have people in Switzerland who have a disability. They are covered with pension and they're also covered with insurance. But you know, the reason why all of you go to work, or all of us go to work, is not money. Of course, we have to pay the bills, right? But I think if money would be the number one target, I don't think we will be in this webinar speaking about placemaking. So for us, we want something else. And I think for human beings, it's very important to feel used, to feel important, to feel like we contribute to something, we can give something. We have a structure during the day, we go somewhere, we work, and we leave there something that's useful for other people. And I make an example with you to show you what I mean. We have in one of our community centers, there is a guy, he is paralyzed from the neck down, whole body, since birth. And he has no financial problem because in Switzerland, you are very well covered. But his whole life, and he's over 40 years old, his whole life, he always had the feeling that he's only taking, that he's not giving anything. And he's also not allowed to find a job because then he would lose the pension, which is very dangerous for the future and so on. So what we do with him is every Wednesday afternoon in Switzerland, all the kids have off school Wednesday afternoon. Very difficult for the working parents to arrange because we are not off on Wednesday afternoons. So what we do is we pick the kids up from school, we bring them to the community center, we give them food, and afterwards he reads to them. So he reads stories to them. And he's very good at imitating voices of animals and so on. So he does it very good. And then he gets paid half an hour by each family, even though he reads a lot longer. But this gives him plus 6 hours every time that he's coming. And this 6 hours is on his time account. It's really like, it works exactly like money, just with time. He has a time account, he has 6 hours plus, and he can use it for whatever he wants. Very important, not just the 6 hours, is he has a job. This job is important. He cannot not come. It's a problem. If he's not coming, we are in trouble. And he knows that. So he feels important. And just because we cannot hire him for 4,000 Swiss francs monthly fee, it doesn't mean that what he's doing is not valuable. He creates direct value. And with the time as a currency, it's possible to have this eye-on-eye level. So it's not one helping the other. It's a service provided, which is paid, but by time. Okay, third and very popular currency on our application that we did not think about before is wine. So we realized Swiss people would do everything for wine. So wine at the moment is the most popular currency we have, which is okay. We don't have anything against that. It's just a kind of a fun fact. So now when we have all of that in place, you have the place to live, or it's shared housing over generations, whatever. You might have work opportunities. You have a 24/7 service. You have a people that you know you can call, and you have the neighborhood network. What it gives to you is the feeling of security. And this is extremely important for a community, for all kinds of people. We were reminded on that, especially during the Corona phase. And of course, events. And then we build all of that together, we connect it, and this is basically the local ecosystem. The meeting points that you see are like community center lights. That could be restaurants, cafe, co-working space. So we work together with them in order to also make distances a little closer, so you don't have to walk too far. I always talked about this app, right? So on the app, you find everything. You tell what you can do, you tell what you need, and it will be matched. But what do we do with the people who are not digital, who don't want to or who cannot use this app? And it's very, very important. All the offerings on the app, everything you can do is equally available non-digital. So all these meeting points and the community center is responsible to, first of all, have like a blackboard where you can find it, but also you just walk in and you say, I want to walk somebody's dog, or I need somebody to cut the grass in my garden, or I don't know, I need somebody installing my lamp, or I want to eat Chinese dumplings. Is there anyone? So, and then these people on the reception, working in the cafe, they will help you. You don't even need to consume anything. They are the 111 partners. You can walk in and they will tell you what to do. They will put it online for you. They will find the correct match. They will help you to make the first appointment. And you don't need to be digital. You can get exactly the same information and the same offering without using it. And this is, for us, it's key. We are not going digital only. Far away from that. We always go locally first. So we need to establish this network, and then we can use the digital tool to make it more easy and more fast and so on. But the app for us it's just the tool. It's not the solution, but it's a very powerful tool. It can be copied quickly. It can make these processes being installed everywhere in different kinds of cities very, very quickly. But at the same time, the local thing is key. And that's I think where we are different from Facebook or from any other of these digital platforms. So this is just summarizing what I just said. We always go both ways. We go digital with the app as well as personal with the centers. And this is to show you how the time thing looks like. So this is the bank account of time. You can see how many hours you have. You can send time. You can ask for time, choose who you want to send it to, and then it's instant transfer. If you work and you don't need the time, of course, you can just also give it for free to your grandmother or to your sister or to a friend who needs something for time. This is the example I told you about. So this was our first hotel that we transferred from being a hotel to being a hotel plus community center. It's in Aarau. It's a little bit outside of the city. You see the picture. It's an ugly hotel. There is no reason why to go there for holidays. Also, that means this was mostly empty. It had a yearly profit loss of 180 kilo Swiss francs, so 180,000 Swiss francs was the situation end of the year for quite many years. And we took it over, or we started the franchise partnership in April 2019. This hotel has a tiny restaurant underneath with these 30 seats. And so what we did then, we achieved within 9 months. So they had an average lunch of 15 sold meals, and we increased from 15 sold meals to these 320 meals every day that we can deliver to people home. We rented out 7 rooms permanently, 3 with full board. We got the governmental permit so that people who need supported living, that they don't need to be in an elderly house, they can be in a hotel and get the same support, and so on and so on. The thing in the end is, after 9 months, we were break even. We increased the turnover almost 40%, and that was before COVID. And then COVID came. And with COVID in Switzerland, we had total lockdown. All hotels had to be closed for hotel guests. So the whole hotel part was gone, zero. But with the rest, what we built up, the hotel only decreased the total revenue for 4%. So they didn't have a problem. They were independent from this whole thing. And at the same time, this is only now the business part of it. What it means for all the people living close by, they had freshly prepared meal every day. They had people cleaning. They could come because they had a work contract with us. They had the connection to each other and were not lonely. So a lot of things happened during Corona. We didn't see that coming, right, when we started this thing, but we were very happy that we had it before it hit us. So you might ask, how do we earn money? So one very, very important fact for me is, for the individual person, this whole thing, what I told you, is for free. The app is totally for free. You download it, you offer yourself. And of course, if you want to have a German class from me, it might cost you an hour, or it might cost you whatever I offer. But we as 111, we don't get a cut. We don't get anything from that. And it will stay like that. It should be free for the people to interact with each other. No matter if it's time or money that goes between the people, we will not get a cut from it. We earn money when an institution or a company earns money because of us. That means, for instance, all our partners, the hotel, if it could be a municipality, it can also be a whole compound that we work with. If they earn more money because of that, then we get a certain percentage of it. So it's doesn't bring any benefit costs. It doesn't cost anything kind of concept. We have this saying in German. So we need to bring value first. We don't take before we give. So the deal, for instance, with the hotel is they need to make 5% more revenue. If they achieve that, then we get 2%. So they will always have more gain than what we take. That's very, very important. So the cut we take per partner is quite small, but because it's easily being copied, we can have enough partners to ensure the platform working for free for the individual people. So it's a business model. And for us, business is nothing bad. I mean, that people profit from it, that the hotel profits from it also in an economical way, for me is not something bad, it's something good. Because as long as they profit, as long they're very happy to do it. And from the investor down to the single person, to all the local businesses who can very easily be on the platform. So it's not only individuals, all the local business can be on the platform in order to strengthen this local ecosystem, and also to gain and also to earn more money. And that's totally fine, because if they earn more money, they can hire more people and so on and so on. So it's really a combined thing with different aspects. Now, just some examples. The one on the left, you see, this is the hotel. Then we have here, this is the co-working space in Zurich that are now in the becoming partnership part. This is a whole compound. So of course, placemaking is, I didn't focus on placemaking too much, but of course, with all of these things, placemaking is a huge aspect of it. So this is going to be a new compound with 270 apartments that they want to build as a community from scratch. So from the very beginning, the community thought is inside, so we can help them to find out how do the rooms have to be outside, inside, in order to have meeting points where people can get together and exchange. Then here, this is a total municipality. It's close to where we live. It's a village called Gebensdorf, and this village has 61% of the people are above 60. So they need to find a solution on how to get the people connected in the future without having them all moving to elderly people's house, because they don't want that. So there we are going with the whole village from the very beginning. So our mission, what do we do? Again, to summarize it, it's we connect people, and we do it in different ways. We want to make the best use of infrastructures, of places. We want that places are here to fulfill needs of people. We want to combat loneliness. We want people to live self-determined so they can decide. We want quality life for everyone, no matter what history, no matter the income, no matter if Swiss or not Swiss. We want to contribute to that personally. We want to do it locally, and we also do it digitally. So what did we do since 2019? We were founded in 2019. I forgot to tell you that. So these are some milestones that we reached. It's a few months back, so probably the number, especially of the meals, has increased in the meantime. I'm super happy with all of that, especially the change we could make for the people's lives is real. I mean, we know people who could stay at home because of us. It's quite many people already. We have 45 people with heavy disabilities who got a full-time job in one of the communities. We have 30 local heroes. It's super important for us that help us to establish this concept in their home. So this is also the way we grow. We are not going to places that we don't know and we decide which one is the community center. It doesn't work like that. We need local involvement, real involvement. It's a collaborative process. We need local heroes telling us what's the culture of this place, where are the spots that we go, which resources could we use, and we always do it together. So it's not a development project that we come and we say it's like that. It's every community has a different culture, and it's always built up with the locals. That's absolutely key. So what's up in 2023? A big thing, we have a total new app release. So the thing that's out at the moment is more like a prototype that we could learn what we should change, what we have to do differently. This app will be released in Q3 2023. It's globally usable. So all of you have the possibility to use it if you like to. It will include payment with money and also, of course, with time. It will be very easy to hop on for institutions, for groups, for companies, for municipalities, for property management. So there will be also closed groups where you can only, if you like, to only communicate within your building or within your sports club or within your company and share hours there, or you totally open it up. It's very flexible. We partnered up with 2 companies. They will be on the same market space. Very important, very nice, very cool concept. Corela, we hire people who take care of their relatives. So for instance, moms who have a disabled kid and who stay home to take care of the disabled kid, we will hire them and pay them an hourly rate for taking care of their own child. So because if she wouldn't do that, then a professional person would have to do that. And it's still a lot cheaper if of course, if a relative does that. In the concept of 111, you can not only do it for your own son or your own daughter, you can do it for yours and the neighbors, or only the neighbors, and so on. So this is a completely new thing coming up right now. The second one is Sway. It's a new payment platform where you can pay normally with money. But what is different to the existing ones, it's a lot cheaper for the local business, and we do not transfer any data. So we don't sell any data to any third company. So what you sell is your own secret, what you buy is your own secret. And you will have there, that's really cool, more than 130 banks already signed. You have your wallet with your money, and you also have the wallet with time. So you can always immediately pay by time as well, which is super cool. Then we have at the moment new local heroes. We are in contact with people, of course, in Switzerland, but now also in Hamburg, in Berlin, in Canton, and hopefully in many more cities all around Europe and the world soon. We have new communities in the building up process in Switzerland and hopefully also abroad. And that makes us very happy. With all of it, it comes a challenge. That's something maybe in one of the coming up placemaking exchanges. I would also love to hear your opinion with it. This is the challenge at the moment that gives us some headache, or that we're working on, that how can we guarantee to keep this added value within the ecosystem. So, you know, whatever I told you right now, it means if there is a community center and this community center does all of that, and all of these houses are service departments, the value of the houses increase, right? And that's super, especially for the owners of the houses. But how can we make sure that it's not a one-on-one effect on the rent and all of these kind of things? So this is something we're working on very hardly. Any suggestions, idea, highly welcome. Yes. So I'm coming to an end. I think I'm already over time. I would like to thank you very much for your time. I hope I was not too quick with everything. It's a rodeo. It's quite a roller coaster. It's so much fun. And I'm very, very happy with everything. So I'm so glad if you want to be part of it in any way, or if you have feedback, questions, inputs, critique, of course, as well, anything to share with me. I'm super, super happy. You can find us on our website, or just text me directly. And I'm very much looking forward to hearing from you.